Hello, yes, it's Sony time. Hi there, Cobb. How you doing? Ah, right. Yes, we are going to take a look at the old Sony today. See if we can get it to do anything. Not so bad, not so bad. Surviving the rigors of life. Right, this Sony is in a horrible, horrible, horrible condition. It's so dirty and disgusting, and I found out just before the stream that this knob on the front is decidedly wobbly. The cable is turning to tar. It's just... ugh. But yes, I'm hoping that once it's cleaned up, it will be a lovely bit of kit. Front panel here is all got corrosion all over it, and ugh. So I just want to dig into it and see what sort of condition it's like. It's the, by the way, it's the transistor TV receiver model 9-90UB, serial number 73475. Can be powered off a car battery as well, and it can charge a car battery even, which I thought was pretty ingenious. So we can stick a car battery on it, set it up as charging, and then you can still watch telly in a power cut. Oh yes, this is going to be a mammoth job, this one, most definitely. And I'm not even sure quite where to begin with it. But it's, yes. Ugh. If I were to, how can I do this? I've not got anything to put it on to tip it up really, which is a bit short-sighted of me. But I'll show you the back of it. Where are we? Oh. Yeah, you've got this 2-pin plug here with a plus and minus, and a little switch here that switches it into charge mode. But the cable has lost all its insulation here, and it's an old fur-lined cable. The back's been against the wall, I think, so it's not suffered too badly, but the top is just, in the vents there, it's just caked with dust. The handle has this layer of crustiness all over it. The front is rough looking. Indeed, Speedy MF, it's a replaceable battery, but it's not waterproof though, so you couldn't take it in the shower with you. Zoom down on that front panel. Look at that nice crusty corrosion on there. This lovely loose button, loose knob. Not sure what's going on with that. A few controls on this side as well. These are all feeling nice and smooth. On the underside, a few more vents. They look reasonably clean. So yes, that's my job today. Is but my first question is, how on earth do you get into it? My second question is, why won't my Brio focus? There we go. Right, we've got all sorts of screws on the back and screws on the side and screws underneath and screws everywhere. There's a screw even inside there, it looks like it. So I think I'm just going to randomly undo screws. Yes. And actually I should really have something to put these screws in, shouldn't I? Otherwise I'm going to lose them. What have I got? All my jars and things are full of screws. There's one. Oh no, that's got alcohol in it. Although I could clean that out, I suppose, but what about? That's a bit crusty, but it'll do. So I've got one on each side to begin with. Then on the back, these ones look like they've got going through a metal plate inside, so I don't think those will hold the case on. These two might, and this one underneath here might. So I'm thinking this one on the back, which is a machine screw. this one on the back, which is also a machine screw. And then on the bottom here, we've got 3 that go through this. It's like a plastic plate here, which forms the front, and 1 at the top here, which is separate to that. That's another smaller machine screw. That might be enough to release the case. What's the betting all these knobs here will be in the way, though? I expect they will be. There's no feeling of real movement yet. There's 2 more screws in the back here that might be relevant. Yeah, well, out you come. Can't quite get to that one. Oh, that's got a washer on that one. Washers are a good sign. I feel movement. But yes, the knobs will definitely need to be removed. Interesting. I take that knob off and it's left all the insides behind. Separate thing. Must be geared in some way. Hello, Ben. How you doing? What you got planned for dinner today then? Still not much movement. I've got movement on one side. A little bit of movement here. Not much. It's coming a bit more there. What I might do actually is take this front arrangement off here and this knob here, then I can place it down on the screen protector. Some sort of cheesed up pasta or other, you believe? That sounds interesting. 2 things I wouldn't be able to eat: cheesed up pasta. Looks like it should come loose now. It's moving. Not sure if they should be moving, but they're certainly moving. These bits here are moving with the case. Which looks like that's an integral part. That's like a tuner perhaps there. I wonder if this is removable. I'm thinking it's not really going anywhere, that. It might pull out. No, that's not really going anywhere much. Just round and round in circles. The only other thing is these feet on here have screws. Oh yes, I like a good crank every now and then. Just wondering if these screw-on feet have something to do with it. They've got quite long screws on them. Foot came off. Not getting any release on this side at all. Service manual? Who wants to read a service manual? You can just dig in and see what you can find. Yeah, there probably is. If everybody wants to Google for one, feel free. The 9-90UB. Some lifting going on. I'm wondering if one of these other screws on the bottom here is sort of also going through plastic here. That was it. That was the mystery screw. A screw that doesn't even look like it's going through this piece of the case at all. Oh. Hello there. Oh. That's all loose and dangling. That's not good. Lots of wires. That unplugs. Doesn't plug in there, does it? No. Maybe if I come this way with it. There we go, we are in. Kind of. I'll take the case off because it's all still attached by wires. It's somewhat dusty in here. Some rather large capacitors in the back there. A lovely old rectifier, one of those big old finned ones. Let's switch to this camera. Whee! Focus. There's some relatively modern looking capacitors there. Some old-fashioned germanium transistors. Lovely hand-drawn circuit board. all rather dusty. Quite a bit of soot on there. It's had quite a few hours usage. Yes. It may look clean on camera, but that's just because the dust has created a nice uniform coating to it. We've got these wires here which go off to the antenna box on the back, which I can't remove because the built-in antenna is bolted into it. I mean, I guess I could get a spanner in there and try and unscrew it. And then there's multiple screws and things holding it to the case. It wants to come out though, I think. Then I can separate the two halves properly. Yeah, the anode cap is on the side and there's no vents on the side. All the dust is all on the top of the tube and nothing has really fallen down to this part of it. Right. If I wanted to undo this, that's going to be awkward to get into down there. Unless I can get it to come through. Not sure. That's... See what I'm dealing with here. Or try and show you what I'm dealing with. That's good to know, Cobb, thanks. I'll look that up shortly. Right, we've got, that's the antenna there coming in through the top of the case, which is then bolted with two bolts into this unit, which is screwed to the back of the case. So I'd need to get right the way down in there to undo those two bolts. Get some more light on to be able to then release it. Let's close that. Where are we? I've lost it. Let's get a web browser up on here. Actually, I've got it on there, haven't I? There we go. Right. This could prove quite invaluable for diagnosing problems with it. Wondering if there's anything about the dismantling of it to get into it. No, but we've got circuit layouts, which is good. And circuit diagrams. And oscilloscope traces, perfect. So that should certainly help us find out why it doesn't work when I eventually get around to turning it on, but it doesn't actually tell us how to get into the thing. Separate out the two halves. No, these are all soldered in, aren't they? Yes. No plugs in this thing. Sounds like you're in the middle of a gunfight. Oh, it's got fireworks going, have you? You've lost audio. I can see audio on my little VU meter here. No, it's just you. Turn the volume up. Unplug your ears. Right. What might be good for this? Have I got any form of a panel up here that would fit? Not in the slightest. Oh, let's get my toolkit. Enjoy your cheesy pasta, whatever it is, Ben. I've got a good chunky pair of pliers and some other long nose pliers. Might be able to get in there with those. Let's switch back to a decent view. These ones might possibly do the job as well. First of the two nuts has come loose. A little loose anyway. It's a long bolt on this. It's going to take a long time to do this, turning it about half a degree each time. Can I turn that by hand yet? No, because I can't even get my fingers in there. Managed. Oi, turn back the other way. Stupid program. Oh, that one. There. I have so far managed that much. Another manual. It's trying to download, taking forever over it. It would be nice if I didn't have to do this, because it's a very long, painful job. All right, let's carry on with it. Still not moving by hand yet. And there's a big capacitor in the way, so I'm going to have to lift this unit up in order to get it out. And to do that, I'm going to have to remove the antenna, I think. Right. I might be able to turn it now. Loosen this. Or not. I think it's in a keyed hole, so it won't turn. That's still trying to download. Nearly that, nearly that. Yeah, it's just must just be a slow site from the UK, from this, my ISP perhaps, or just having a moment. I think I'll need to cancel the download and click the link again. Yeah, still being slow. Let's copy the link from there and I don't know why it doesn't want to do it on Firefox, but I've just run it on wget and it's downloaded it straight away. Okay. Ocular. There we go. Right. Plot diagram, that's useful. Disconnect 4 control knobs, done. Remove the 7 screws, done. Disconnect the VHF channel knob, done. Lift up the rear cabinet gently, pull out the 4-pole connector, done. but nothing mentioned about these antenna wires. It does say to remove that one machine screw on the back which is holding this unit in. So maybe I shall just pop this one out. That does then... Oh, hello. Can't see anything, but I undid that one screw and where's my mouse gone? It unplugged. So I don't need to undo those bolts. Back is now separate. So I can tighten those bolts back up again at some point. Right, that makes it a bit easier. Absolutely, it was worth it. I wouldn't have thought to unscrew one screw would just make the whole thing just fall apart like that. So yes, we've got a chunky transformer, another transformer, an old rectifier, two rather chunky capacitors there, which I think may need to be reformed. Let's have a quick prod at them with my DMM. See what it thinks of them. Very crude test. That's a 9.8 millifarads. That one there is 9.9 millifarads. Not bad. 1979. I would have thought maybe a bit earlier than 79. But it may be. I mean, we'll have to see if we can see any kind of a date stamp anywhere on anything here. But it's unlikely. We won't find any microchips, that's for certain. No, unlikely we'll find a date in here. But I think my first concern will be to get rid of some of this dust. 71 I could see. I don't know how the noise cancellation is going to deal with my little Hoover. I'm hoping that none of this dust is structural. Oh, OBS's noise cancellation is brilliant. It works wonders. Right, that's looking a little less dusty in there now. Still a lot of dust, but it's not of a level where it's about to jump out and throttle me. Right, let's have a slightly closer look at the main unit. That is horrendously dusty. Sounds like the battery's starting to run out in my vacuum a bit there. Where's the charge cable for it? Let's put it on charge for a bit while I do the next. Where's the hole gone? There it is. Okay, that's on charge. Right. This looks like it's just dust and cobwebs in here, and I'm hoping that there's nothing wrong with any of it, and that it'll just magically work. But everything looks reasonable. There's no initial sign of leaking capacitors anywhere, but who knows what they're like now. I'm hoping I don't have to do a full recap of this, because there's a lot of capacitors in here. You know, part of me is tempted to just plug it in and see what happens. But that would be bad. At the very, very least, I need to reform. Hang on. My hands are here, not down there. Something kind of odd has gone on with the Brio. It's completely frozen. Properties. The Brio doesn't exist, apparently, according to OBS. Okay, bear with me one moment. Something is very not happy with the Brio. It's your fault, Carrot House. Hello, by the way. What is going on with this thing? Is it overheated or something? First time if it is. Cannot enable. Maybe the USB cable is bad? No. Oh, hang on. Oh. That's not good. It's had vinegar dripping down the wire into it. My little squirty bottle of vinegar on the shelf had fallen over. Let's try a different USB socket on the computer. Nope, not seeing anything now. Oh, I hope I haven't killed my Brio. Let's try it on another computer with another cable. Nothing at all. Oh dear. Oh, I'm seeing some errors. I think the connector might be corroding. Oh. That's the best kind of fixing you can have, where you do nothing and it fixes it. Let's get some contact cleaner in there. Except my contact cleaner is almost empty. Plug it into the USB 2 for a moment. Right. Nope, still not seeing anything on here. Tries to operate on my other computer, but then moans that there's problems with it, but that's normal. But on my streaming computer I get nothing. This is the lot of the streamer, is to have equipment that just fails on you. I need another USB cable, I think. Problem is, this is USB-C, and I haven't got many USB-C cables. That's lightning. That's a lightning. That's a USB-C. Right. I plug this into USB 2. Does it operate? It does. I could just smell something burning. I'm sure I could smell something burning. Nope. Maybe it was just a puff of dust. Strange. Let's try this in USB 3. Or has my USB 3 bus on this computer crashed? Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Right. Okay, the Brio is still working, but I think the cable might have died. The only cable I've got is a really short one. I'm happy that that's working anyway, but it's not exactly convenient. So I shall have to find another cable for that. But for now, I shall use my Canon, which likes to switch itself off regularly. Right, okay. Yes, I think the main thing I'm going to have to do before I do try powering it up is to reform these two capacitors. And I've never actually done that before. Thankfully not, because they're not cheap cameras, those, and I can't afford to replace it. So I'm glad it is still working, and it's maybe just the cable has gone. Right, so if I were to try reforming one of these capacitors, I have to think about how Shelby does it. He's got his fancy script that does it all for him. I don't have such a luxury to hand. I mean, I could create one, but such a thing is not something I have currently written. Move them all. Where's my resistors? So I would be doing this completely manually. Yeah, 100 ohm will do, I think. The resistor. Okay, 100 ohm resistor. How removable are these? Oh, that made me jump then. Oh, wow, thank you very much, Cobb. That was very, very, very welcome, thank you. That'll buy me a nice glass of wine in the pub on Wednesday. Right, how do we get these capacitors out? There's a single screw there, isn't there? Yes, I've actually got sound coming from my streaming computer now that I've got my new audio set up. So things like donations actually make a noise for me now and make me jump. Right. Okay. So this is claiming to be a 16 volt, 4000 microfarad. And this one is claiming to be the same. 16 volt, 4000 microfarad. Which they're not in parallel, and they were reading at 9,800. So let's plug my soldering iron in. So I need to take this out of circuit to measure it properly, I think. And I'll need my cable. That will do. I don't mind jump scares whilst I'm soldering, as long as there's money involved. Right, let's plug this into my bench power supply. Cable's long enough yet. Solder. Okay, let's see if I can easily remove this brown wire here. Or is it all wrapped around? Wrapped around. Gotcha. Right. Let's just quickly see what the Alright, see you in a few moments then. So, what it thinks of this capacitor now. That's more like a proper value. Now it's out of circuit. So that could be a good capacitor, but does most definitely need to be reformed properly. So I shall start off with such an awkward place to try and get to. Start off by trying to solder this resistor on to here. That'll do, it doesn't have to be fantastic. Right. Negative lead connected, positive lead connected. And start off at 1 volt. Limit it to 100 milliamps. And that was dropped down to 0 almost straight away. 2 volts. 3 volts. 4 volts. Up to 5. 6, taking slightly longer now. 1 milliamp, 0, that'll do. 7, 8, still on it, there we go, and up to 9. Get up to 16 volts eventually. I wonder if I can get a view of this. Oh, focus. There we go. And switch to that camera. There we go. Right, and up to 10 volts. 11. Okay. 12 volts, we're still happy. Oops, wrong one. 13. 14. Sticking on 14 a bit. There it goes. 15, one more to go. and 16 volts. There we go. I would call that probably, at least partially, reformed. Now I shall take these two leads, plug them into my multimeter, and don't fit very well. They fit terribly in here, they really don't go at all. That's currently holding at 3.6 volts. Let's short that out. 0.3 volts. There we go. Right, that's now emptied. I shall run the cycle again. Maybe a bit slow this time. Not taking any current yet. Back to volts. Oh, there it goes. 4 volts. Absolutely. Who needs fancy scripts and GPIB and thousands of dollars worth of equipment? Well, that certainly filled it up at the end there a bit quicker. Currently measuring as no voltage really across it. I've got another set of test leads so I can get my multimeter straight on it. If these will fit better. Not wonderfully. Let's splay them out a bit. That feels better. Right, I'm going to do the same again. I'll go up by whole volts again, I think. shall wait until I hit a whole volt on. I wonder if I can get both displays on at once. Let's add video capture device, and which one is it? It's that one, isn't it? Transform, rotate. I think that's visible. Okay, let's go up to 2 volts. Yes, this takes a bit longer now doing it this way. That's more accurate. Absolutely. It's your turn, Carrot House. I don't think that's going up any further at the moment. I'll take it. Don't turn it off. Turn it up. Take it up to 3 volts. That's better. I'm taking off the polarizer. Well, Carrot House has got this huge pile of e-waste computers to work through, so I guess that, yeah, he probably is. You probably are working on a video, aren't you? You've got no shortage of computers to work your way through. I'm still reforming this capacitor at the moment. It's my 3rd pass. This time I'm doing it properly with a multimeter attached to the capacitor directly. You just love the attention, don't you? You live for the attention. Are you going to get to 5999? It's not going to get to 5999, is it? Get it up to 7. That pretty much sums up everybody on YouTube, isn't it? Driven by the attention. Well, there's certainly the two big ones in the rear of the case. I think those are probably going to be the two main ones. Everything else is low-level stuff. I think these are the main power supply filtering ones. I don't fancy digging around to do any of the others inside unless I absolutely have to, and those, they won't be reformed, they'll just be replaced. Depends what your passion is. There are some passions you don't share with people. Model railways for a start. Nearly there. If I were doing more than 2 capacitors, I'd definitely write a script for this. Absolutely. I don't mince me words. I just mince in other ways. Yes, that was quite an interesting video, that. I can kind of emulate it if you like. Disassembled Amiga 500, anybody? We should all have one of those in our cupboard. They probably tried sticking it down and then realised they didn't want it there or something and ripped it off and pulled the cover off and ripped the cover off and threw it away and then tied it down or something. It was probably an accidental thing that just happened. Yeah, just a bit of cleaning and a dead CIA. That's all that was wrong with that. And last time I tried mine, there was nothing at all wrong with mine. So I really need to get around to doing something with it. Put it in a case. I've got a few videos on YouTube with it, but yeah, I'll get around to doing a stream with that board at some point. I've upgraded it in various ways. It's got VGA capability and all sorts on there now. I do like the Amiga. That was my third computer, the Amiga, I think. No, was it fourth computer? Yeah, I had the Spectrum 48K, followed by the Spectrum Plus 2A, followed by I had my old Advance 86 PC, and then I had the Amiga. I'll bet you have. Fortunately, my expansion card, which is in the box in the cupboard, had no corrosion on the Vata, but I've already taken that off and modded it with a little lithium cell. Only if it's cheap. Don't go and spend a lot of money on an Amiga unless it's a particularly good one, like a 4000 or something like that. But a 500, the prices of them are just ridiculous these days for what they are. I think we're almost there with this capacitor now. Yeah, I had a 1200 motherboard. I bought just a motherboard second hand when I was back when I was at university. I bought a 1200 motherboard, and I acquired a keyboard from somewhere. I can't remember where. I think I got that off somebody else at uni, and built my own Amiga 1200 into a bedside cabinet. To which I then added 68030 expansion accelerator card, which I bought through Amiga Format magazine, so an advert in there. Added a hard drive to it, 48 meg of RAM. I think it was 48 meg of RAM, huge amount of RAM at the time. And ran Linux on it. Yes, I am insane, clinically insane. Yes, I ran Linux on my Amiga at university. Don't think that's going to get any higher. If it's free, say yes. And then send it to me. Right. Let's have a look at this capacitor now. $100, that's equivalent to about £5, is it? Wire. See you, character. Two of those. Right, let's get my little component tester onto this and see if I can get a reading from it. Is it even going to work? Come on, solder on. Tack it on enough so it'll let me press the button and get a reading. Come on. Okay. Testing. That looks reasonable. Capacitance is maybe reading a little bit high. 26 milliohms, or 260 milliohms rather, 1.9% loss. I think that capacitor looks like it's working reasonably well. I'll call that one reformed. What I might do actually is screw these capacitors back in to help hold them in place so I can solder them more easily. I don't need them loose. I think so, pretty much. Just a gentle increase of voltage until it hits the maximum. Take it up a step at a time until the current drops to 0 and it stops raising the voltage. Turn that one round. Release the pressure then on the cable. Lots of you can see what I'm doing. Right, that's capacitors back in. Okay, on this one I've got 2 brown wires and a whole bunch of black wires. Correct. Come on, out you come. I think this is going to need trimming. Gotcha. Right, those are off. the 100 ohm resistor on. Nope, doesn't want to go. Okay. We connect the multimeter, we connect the bench power supply, the other side of the resistor. Okay. And that was the view I had, wasn't it? Okay, take it back down to 1 volt. And off we go. First reforming this one's had, so it's taking a considerable time to get up each step. Well, the other one I did 3 passes on. First 2 passes were pretty quick, and it's only the only on the 3rd pass that I got the multimeter out. So this is the first pass of the new one, which I'm letting go all the way rather than just, because the first one I just let it get to 0 milliamps on the power supply rather than getting it up to a volt on the DMM. So I kind of cheated a bit on that one. Doing this one properly. I'll call that good. For these ones, actually I might have some replacements that are a fraction of the size. Or certainly similar anyway. 33 as opposed to 4, so it's not much different. These are also 16 volts. So yes, this capacitor is about equivalent to that great big huge chunky one. So it's not the end of the world if they do die. I have got some that would do the job, but I would much prefer to keep them original if I can. Yeah, these are the main power supply capacitors that are in the back of the case, back of the Sony. Can't easily show you at the moment what position it's in. It looks to be a very basic linear power supply. You've got a great big fat transformer going into a full bridge rectifier, going into what looks to be a pi filter, 2 capacitors, 1 huge inductor. And that's pretty much it. Don't know what voltage it'll be providing, but it can't be any more than 16 volts because that's what these are, these capacitors. Yeah, I've only ever done one other CRT based system before. I'm not too worried about charge on this one because I don't think this has been plugged in for the past 20 years. Now you need to have something which will bleed the charge off the tube a little more gently than just a screwdriver, because a screwdriver can cause a spark which can actually physically damage the anode cap. I know. This is for the benefit of the other viewers. So yes, you want to make a probe with some reasonably high resistance. Ideally, a ladder of a number of resistors in series to give it a high voltage tolerance. Is this still going up? No, it's just waving around at the moment. So that will do for 2 volts up to 3 volts. Yeah, don't make the mistake of just having like just one little mega ohm resistor in a wire, because typically those are for a limit of 75 volts, whereas you need more of sort of 10,000 volt. Creeping up. Ooh, Sun Ultra 60 tower, nice. I'll teach you how to use it. I used to have a Sun Ultra. Can't remember which model it was now. It was a tower with a Sun Ultra processor in it, and Sun Ultra 60. Let me just pull up the specs on that one. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I charge by the second. The Ultra 60 is a fairly large and heavy computer workstation. Yeah, you can say that again. 1997. Solaris 7 it has on it at new. One or two SCSI drives, so you've got to hope that it's got drives in it. It's SCA SCSI discs as well. 4 full-size PCI slots. And Ultra Spark 2. Where's the frequency? It could be either a single or dual CPU with 300, 360 or 450 megahertz processors in it. He's Canadian. Canadians are born to be abused. You've watched South Park, haven't you? Oh, nice computer. Yes, that looks very, very similar to my old Ultra system. I can't remember which model mine was. Um, oh wait, where's the right scene? There it is. It's called Sunset. Oh. That's in good condition, it looks like. one or two CPUs between 3 and 450 megahertz, 144 pin DIMM memory. It should be installed in sets of 4 identical DIMMs, 16 DIMM sockets in it. So it's possible to fit up to 2 gigabytes. Where are we? I was looking at for video card. Doesn't say what graphics output it has, but it'll be VGA. Oh yeah, display VGA by a 13W3. Have you got a 13W3 cable or adapter? That's the 13W3. I remember those. Sync on green. You can get 13W3 to VGA adapters fairly cheaply, or you used to be able to anyway. 7 volts. Uh, 13W3 adapter. No, I don't want mains plugs. Amazon doesn't know what a 13W3 adapter is. Oof, they've gone up in price. They used to be cheap, these things. Now it costs more for the adapter than it does to buy the computer. 658. That's a bit more reasonable. That's a bit better. $12. And the rest. Unfortunately, I no longer have any Sun stuff at all, not even adapters. I used to have loads of these sort of things back in the day, but alas not. Where are we? I think that's ready for the next step. 8 volts. and my camera got bored. Oh, my phone is about to run out of juice. I can't quite reach the cable from here, but if I turn it over at night, where has it gone? That is. Oh, just reaches. But now it's upside down. Why won't it go the right way up? Oh, I'll just do this manually on here. Transform. Rotate. There we go. You were an idiot buying an SGI Indy 2. I'd love an Indy 2. I always lusted after the Indy 2 back in the day. I had no idea what 13W3 was now, though. They are unique to that sort of style of computer, really. It's not whether you can get an adapter that works. The adapter is just a passive piece of wire, basically. The problem is all these things are sync on green rather than having a separate horizontal vertical sync. So you need to have a VGA monitor which will work with sync on green, as well as having an adapter. So it complicates matters a little. If you didn't have a monitor that would support the sync on green, no matter how many adapters you tried, none of them would work, and you'd have a very disappointing experience. So fortunately, I also had an actual Sun monitor with all my Suns, one of the great big 21-inch or something really heavy CRTs that was a 13W3 connector on the end of it, so I didn't have to worry about adapters and things most of the time. Yes, a friend of mine had an SGI Indy, and I used to connect to his Indy over the internet through 56k dial-up networking and run Netscape on his Indy over a remote X connection on dial-up. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was 28.8 rather than 56k back then. My phone line, I had a strange phone line arrangement then. So I had one phone line, but that phone line was split between the house phone and my phone. So you could both make phone calls and both use the line at once, but you only had half the bandwidth available. So I could only connect at 28.8 kilobits per second. So it was doubly slow, but his connection, because he worked for an ISP, so he had his Indy in the office, So I would dial up to the internet, connect through to his Indie, and then I'd have faster internet off a very, very, very slow display. It was barely usable. Those were the days. Dial-up networking. Yeah, all these older Unix workstations are just gorgeous machines, but I mean, so slow by today's standards. But back then, they were just, compared to PCs, they were mind blowing. I remember when I was at university, the fastest PCs around were 486 DX33, I think. Absolutely, yes. Yeah, the fastest PCs around were sort of the 486 DX33, I think was about the fastest. And I remember reading in a magazine that the DEC Alpha 233 megahertz processor had just been released. It was mind blowing. You have these PCs at 33 and DEC Alpha is 200 megahertz more, almost 10 times the speed. So phenomenal computers they were compared to the consumer grade stuff. Well, we're getting there on the reforming. I could probably be going faster than this, but better to be safe than sorry. If there's anybody watching right now that's not following me, please follow me. I'm trying to get this bar here all the way up to the top, 50 followers. once I hit 50 followers, I can become an associate on Twitch, which means I can start doing fun things with bits and what have you. So if I can get us up to 50 followers, then we can start really having some fun. So please follow me, please, even if it's only just for a couple of months. You're lots of fun, Carrot House, yes. But we can always have more fun. Yes, it is. They're 16-volt capacitors, so we're very nearly there now on this one. It'll be a 12-volt power supply to match the battery input on it. Or 15-volt actually to allow charging. Nearly done. There's a long road to go yet before I even get round to plugging this in. I need to do something about the power cable for a start. It's absolutely horrible. Part of me wants to see if I can rescue it. This is reasonably good sign. It's if it not wanting to take a charge, then it'll either just go straight up and sit at maximum voltage, or it'll just never really get any voltage at all. So this is a good sign that it's working well. It's because it's going through a 100 ohm resistor, so it's trickling current into it slowly. Yeah, part of me wants to try and keep the original cable, but it is so disgusting that I don't know if I can. So I might be replacing the cable completely. 67 gigabytes in 2 seconds to open an image file. Whoa. This meter, it's just a cheap Unity UT61E. It's nothing special. It's I got it specifically because it's got a USB interface to it that I never actually use. I can do, but hello, Urban Monkey. Yes. I've got a stack of similar meters, all Unity or Unity rebranded. But that's the only one I've got that's actually got a USB interface to it. It's useful having a USB, but I just haven't got it set up at the moment. But for something like this, I can, because the power supply's got a USB interface as well, so I could script the two interacting together with the script controlling the power supply depending on what the DMM is reading. But that takes effort. And for 2 capacitors, it's not worth it. If I were doing a lot of capacitors, then I would definitely write a script. I think we're almost there. Oh, fair enough, Cobb. I hope you sleep better tonight. Yes, I'll be, alright, it's 9:15 now. Yeah, I'm not going to be on stream that much longer now anyway. I think I'm going to, once this capacitor is finished, I'll reconnect, or I'll test it, and then reconnect it and see about sort of putting it back into a state where it can be stored away for next stream. And we'll continue with this one on Thursday. So there's not much more for you to miss out on, Cobb. So sleep well. Still gradually creeping up. Oh, I think we've hit our limit. Yeah, I'll call that done. Right. Let's clean this up and test it. wire still stuck to this. There we go. Right, get my dodgy little tester out. And see what it thinks of it. That looks pretty much exactly the same as the other one. Same VLOS, same ESR. Capacitance is reading a bit high, but that's to be expected on these big chunky capacitors. I'll call that one good. Right, reconnect all the wires. Go. I think that's back together again. And now the question remains, what do I do with this lovely cable? Do I try and salvage it, or do I replace it? Because it is just, the surface of it is just turning to liquid. I shall try a bit of IPA on it and see what it does. You know, I think that might salvage. That feels still a bit sticky, but might salvage. It will, of course, require removing and reattaching because it's completely lost its insulation at this end. Yeah, it's borderline because it's cleaned it, but it's still tacky. But I don't know if that tackiness is my fingers or not. So I'll just clean them off a bit. It's an IPA. Yeah, it's still tacky to the touch. So I don't know. Still in two minds. Clean up a bit more. Yes, I think that's probably what I'm going to have to do. Yeah, still a definite tackiness to it, but it's not as bad as it was. So I might keep it for now and look at replacing it later, perhaps, if it does get worse. But that does seem to be cleaning it pretty well, though. I might, yeah, I'll clean it off and I'll leave it overnight, and I'll see what it's like tomorrow. See if it's still see if it's gone tacky again. See how much disgusting gunk has come off it. No, I don't really go in for that sort of thing, Urban Monkey. I was too busy watching Shelby's stream to go and celebrate. Been a few stupid camera. Been a few pops and bangs. November the 5th. The day we celebrate somebody nearly managing to blow up Parliament. That's called January the 6th, isn't it, Urban Monkey? Yes, got to be, what is it, 26 years, is it? Before you're allowed to make a joke about something? Well, apparently the stream died then. I've just done about 10 minutes worth of work without having a stream at all. Weird. Anyway, I've restarted. What I've just been doing then was moving the cable up into this clamp properly. So I don't know what happened then, stream-wise. It just... weird. Twitch does strange things. Right, I think we're all back again. I hope we're all back again. I have no idea what happened then. But it died and I hadn't even noticed. Right. I want to get these screws done back up again now, I think. It's not an easy nut to turn, this one. I wish I could find my adjustable spanner. I have an adjustable wrench around somewhere. There we go. Found it. Yes, we're back. I have no idea what happened, but it went to my technical difficulties screen and the stream stopped. and I hadn't even noticed. So there I was working away and nothing was being streamed. Awkward that there's just no room at all to do anything on this screw, on this nut. There we go, that's tight. It all adds to my my total number of streams, I suppose, yes. Right. So I don't know where we'd got to when I lost the stream, but I've reclamped the cable in its clamp properly there now. Cut off the non-standard plug at the end. So now I'm going to see about putting it partially back together again to keep it all safe until Thursday. And Thursday I shall take I shall try the actual power supply, see what the voltages are that it's giving out. Hopefully none of them are deadly. And give the main circuitry a bit of a once over. Oh, excuse me. So now to work out how to put it back together again. Let's see if I can find enough screws. Right, so this little unit needs to go into here and screw in place. That was, I believe, this screw. Absolutely. I've got more than a few screws loose. Need a few screws loose to be doing this sort of job. Can I get this to get into the hole? No, I can't. around. Try and get it in a position where I can actually see what I'm doing. Where's it gone? That's it. Oh, very smart. That is posh. Nice. Got it at last. And I just knocked a couple of screws on the floor. Joy. Well, they've gone. Shall find those later when I step on them. Adding the side skirt part cooling so it can ramp up the speed. Nice, yes. $80 CFM. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah. Or PWM them. Right. Now, there is a large transformer that is loose in here, and I have no idea where it was clamped, how it was held in. But I suspect not to be down there, can it? Where are we? Find an image of the insides. So there's 2 screws on the back that I removed that I shouldn't have removed. That's this one and this one. And that's why that transformer is loose. Okay. That just goes onto there then. Have I got it? I have. I've got it in. You can't see what I'm doing though. Even with this view, you won't be able to see what I'm doing because it's all inside. There we go, that won't flap around and damage the tube now. Let me connect up the special 4-pin connector. Right, that's sort of back together. Self-tapping screw there. Machine screws there. 2 machine screws here. One of which I think is on the floor now. No, these ones. Sure were these, but maybe not. These side ones though were definitely these self-clappers. There. Those two with the feet. Right, so I've only lost one screw with a washer. That's not bad. That's the one that fell on the floor. And that's that one there, which is not that critical. I shall scour the floor later and find that screw, or I shall find a replacement in my box of screws. Well, I might have just found the washer. I'll find that one later. That's not critical. Right. So this is sort of back together again now. I'm not going to put all the knobs back on yet. I was thinking, yeah, I might sort of just jam one wire in, and then the other wire I'll just hold and stick my finger in the socket. That'll do the job, won't it? No, the plug was a bit crusty, but also doesn't conform to current regulations. So I decided it had to go. It's easy enough to change a plug. So I'll just slap a new one on. No worries. Good old British plugs. There's a one which does conform to UK standards. Focus that. Yeah, you need this insulation on here now to be to conform to standard. This ancient one hasn't got any. So yeah, definitely a new plug. It's so cheap and easy to. Oh, stupid camera. So cheap and easy to replace that might as well. And, oh, that's still upside down, isn't it? There we go. Yes, these are the best plugs in the world. Well, yeah. Standards conforming ones of these are the best plugs in the world. Absolutely. No two ways about it. They are the best. So many safety features. It doesn't really matter for you Americans and Canadians with your weird low voltage stuff, but for us people with a decent mains voltage, you need to have decent plugs, and ours are by far the best. There's a Tom Scott video all about them if you really want to know more about all the fun safety features. Yeah, but when you're only on 110, 120 volts, that's not a shock, that's just a little tingle. A shock is when there's a big bang and a flash of light and you end up the other end of the room before you know what happened. If you're lucky. Right, okay, that's now back into a state where I can put it over to one side and then continue next Thursday, where fun will ensue. I think we may actually get to power it up then. No, not turning it on tonight. I've got more that I want to check out first before I turn it on, and bits I need to clean out and get the dust bunnies away from the high voltage stuff. So yeah, a bit more work before I can turn it on. You might have hours left. It's 10 o'clock here. I need to go to bed. Ugh. It was 2 o'clock before I went to bed last night, so yeah, it is early, but I have to think about the other people in the house. Can't be making all this noise. No, I'm beyond beauty sleep now, I think. So yeah, it's 10 o'clock now. I'm going to call it here. Well, thank you for joining me for a tinker with this old television. I've enjoyed it. I don't know if you have. We are about halfway through, I suppose. I need to check out more of the internals before I can turn it on and put a new plug on it. But yeah, I think it's looking like it could hopefully be a goer. So join me on Thursday when I shall be diving into it again. If you want to be notified of that stream, make sure you follow me. That'll also help me get my my little counter up here, wherever it is. That way, isn't it? That counter over there up to 50. If you really enjoyed it, you might like to sign up on Patreon. You'll get your name in lights down the bottom here and early access to my videos. Yeah, I'm also on YouTube and on Discord, so yeah, join me on those places, you'll find me. Yeah, so see you on Thursday, and thank you for joining me for what was a fun but interrupted stream. I don't know what happened with that interruption, so yes, thank you everybody, and I'll see you on Thursday.